There's a lot of pressure to wear the right clothes for every situation. But the clothes don't make the man. With Mack Weldon, you can build a wardrobe that looks polished in any setting and tells the world that you stay you wherever you go. Go to MackWeldon.com and get 25% off your first order of $125 or more with promo code MACK25. That's MackWeldon.com, promo code MACK25.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic!
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Welcome back to Used to Sew, a podcast about sewing machines, sewing history, and sewing culture in the past and present. I am your producer and co-host Aradia, daughter of your main host, T.R. Kelly, who is here today to talk to you about the Singer 301, both the model in general and the individual machine that we found in last week's field trip episode. This info dump was recorded during that field trip conversation, but it was so long that it deserved its own entire episode. So, here we are, once again covering a Singer model line. You might remember that in Season 1, Episode 10, Electricity Part 2, we covered the Singer 101. We seem to have somehow skipped over the 201. We'll have to get back to that at some point. There are several very cool factoids about the Singer 301 that you will hear about in this episode, about its place in the family tree of Singer model innovations, as well as its place in the American education system. My mom is very excited to have one of these machines in her possession, and I very much enjoyed basking in the fire hose of all this history. And, in a perfect twist, we were even able to discover how our beloved and recently departed maternal ancestor connected to the story as well, above and beyond, sponsoring the trip to Florence in the first place. And she always accepted info dumps. No matter how little she understood what we were talking about, she could always follow our excitement, and that was all that she needed. This episode was sponsored by Grandma in her final days on this side of the veil, and we delivered this episode like an info dump to her, just as if she was still listening to the podcast. Because in a way, she is.
Just a little while ago before the break there, we had evaluated 3 sewing machines that we found at St. Vinny's. And of course, I bought the cruddy one. Now, they wanted $69.99 for it. It's the 301 in a really cruddy blonde cabinet. It's been sitting in somebody's barn forever. But reading the price tag, it had been sitting there since October of last year, which surprised the hell out of me. Florence has a quilt shop. Surely somebody has gone in there and seen a 301 and known what it was and bought it. I couldn't believe it. So it was already 25% off. I wound up paying like $52 and change for it or something. But why did somebody pass it by? Well, it was obviously in poor condition, and half the electrical cabling's gone. The part that plugs to the machine to the wall. The foot control was still there. The knee lever's there. And as Aradia mentioned, the machine has a handle on top, but it's in a cabinet. The 301 has a special metal steel spring cradle thing that mounts to the cabinet, and the machine clicks into it. It was the coolest thing. Nobody, I mean, this is in their early advertising materials. Look, it's in a cabinet, but if you want to take it out, you just reach under where the bobbin is, and there's this little spring lever you click, and now you can pull the machine right out. And it, like the featherweight, is made of aluminum. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got the same bobbin as the featherweight, same hook assembly. We've got its body's made out of aluminum. It's even got a little fold-up bed on one side. There's a lot of similarities to the featherweight there. The featherweight first came out in 1934, and it's the classic little curvy Singer shape, right? But they really hit it out of the park with the featherweight with that whole hook assembly thing. They okay, let's keep that. That's cool. But there's some things we could do better. So it's not the big sister of the featherweight. It's actually the featherweight's prodigal daughter. It went on to better things. It's still got its mom's wonderful bobbin, rotating. It's got a full rotary hook. Like you look under like your basic class 15 and you see your hook going back and forth.
Right, yeah.
Well, the featherweight's got a bobbin, and the 301 has a bobbin that clicks in underneath like that, but the hook goes completely rotary. What does that mean? That means it's capable of very high speeds. The featherweight is known to not be a fast machine. The 301, I have read, I have not fired this one up yet, is the fastest domestic sewing machine Singer made.
Wow.
Because of the engineering of that horizontal axis vertical hook and the fact that it's a direct drive. Okay, it's got the direct drive motor like, guess what, the 201, but it's not a pod on the back. Now the motor's inside the pillar, and it points straight up. And it's got a gear on it that engages with the gear on the hand wheel, the fiber gear I was talking about last time, which directly, the whole machine is gear drive. But that particular motor winds up being used in many different machines. So if it burns out, you're good. You don't have to rebuild it like the 201 or the 101. Okay, now the featherweight is not, okay, it has gear drive inside, but its motor is attached with a belt. So it's still an old-fashioned belt drive machine. The 201 was, the 101 was the first gear drive, then the 201 and the 1591. Now we're into this, okay, we like this gear drive thing, but let's put that cool high-speed designed hook we did for the featherweight together with this gear drive motor. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's put it all in a really nice aluminum. See, they're combining all these cool design things they figured out. I mean, it's a whole new body of machine. It's a whole new design, but it's things they've learned with previous machines. Now, here's the kicker. We're gonna we're gonna pull a proprietary thing, and we're gonna invent a whole new way that the needle bar comes down. We're going to call it the slant needle. The slant shank system is what they called it. Now, the early patent drawings for this. Okay, so I'm going to read. This is from the singer301.com, which is a really awesome website. If you're into 301s, there is everything you would ever want to know. Collectors, mechanics, anything. So singer301.com, great website. So I'm going to read from that right now. After World War II, 1939 to 1945, most sewing machine manufacturers were marketing the same machines they sold prior to the war. Singer had the models 99, 128, 66, 1588, 1591, 201, and 221. 221 is featherweight. Okay, so that's what Singer's line was. There was a very desperate need for change, not only with the family sewing machine, but also for educators and high school home economics classes. Okay, this was really for a sewing machine store. If you got some school contracts, because all schools had home economics departments in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. If you got a school contract and, you know, kids are not gentle on the machines, you come every week and adjust and clean and oil and do all the things, right? So designing a machine specifically for a school market would be a really good thing. So now I'm not talking about the 301 here. I'm talking just about this slant shank system they're coming up with. Fortunately, Singer was already engineering a new machine to introduce for its 100th anniversary that would revolutionize the sewing machine of tomorrow, with a dramatic departure in design to make home sewing easier and more convenient, a machine unlike any other in the past 100 years of sewing machine production. And then there's a picture of a patent drawing here. On November of 1944, Singer Manufacturing Company applied for a patent with an invention that relates to sewing machines with a primary objective, blah, meow. Basically, they inclined the presser bar backwards 9 degrees from the vertical. So imagine your needle bar is straight up and down. Okay, now it's 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Okay, picture it as a clock face. Now, kick it back to where it's like at 11 o'clock and 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Okay, now picture that needle going up and down. What is the point of that? Point.
Yeah, truly.
The point is that you can see where the needle's entering the fabric, the actual point of stitching, because you're hovering over it, right? Sewers always have that joke about getting whacked in the forehead with the little chicken head take-up lever. Right?
Yeah.
Singer saw that this was, again, it's a marginal thing. It's like, let's invent something, let's over-engineer a thing and then sell it, And of course, it's not going to be backwards compatible because this new shank is higher. The feet actually are slanted and about higher. So you've got to buy all new attachments. You buy this machine, you've got to buy all new attachments. Your old ones won't work. Oh, how are we going to sell the customers on this? That's the thing. We're going to, we engineer this thing first. Well, now how are we going to sell it? What's the thing? They messed around in their labs with how far did they want to slant it. They went as far as 15 degrees, which is way back there.
Wow, yeah.
And that was not good because then without the hook in a similar arrangement, it's going to skip stitches. So they prototyped with what alignment of that head was going to be best, and they came up with 9 degrees. They were working on this in the 40s. This is way before the thing ever became available. The inclined needle bar would become known as the slant needle, and the engineering of this new machine would continue over the next several years. Now, this is a part I didn't know. During this time, Singer built the new Anderson, South Carolina factory, specifically for slant needle sewing machines. Okay, so their Elizabethport factory, which was where they started, which is where was the biggest one until Kilbowie was made. Elizabethport, New Jersey. So now they're building a brand new factory in Anderson, South Carolina to manufacture a line of slant shank system Singers. And the 301 is going to be the flagship first model. So they're building a whole new factory. I mean, they're really banking on this is going to be the thing. We're going to make this machine. It's going to be better. We're going to aggressively sell them to schools, and that way they'll be locked in. They can't use other people's feet or anything. They've got to buy our stuff. They've got to stay with Singer. So it was a marketing thing. So it was an engineering thing, and then marketing got a hold of it. Yeah, let's go. But in 1951, the Elizabethport factory manufactured a pilot run of 30 of the new model 301s. So they haven't even got the new factory yet. With serial numbers, blah, meow. The 30 machines went through rigorous testing and inspection for several months, as it was an entirely new concept. So, let's pass some of these out to people. Hey, sew some stuff. Actually, just sew some stuff. Don't be,
Beta testers.
Yeah. Just give it out probably to some of the people that worked in the factory that actually sewed. Hey, take this home and check it out, right? I could totally see that. So that was the AK series. None of the test machines have ever been located. They were most likely destroyed as company secrets after testing.
Oh.
Wow. That would be the ultra rarest one.
Truly.
So they're testing the machines. They were great. Okay, all the beta machines came back because We don't want any of them going out and getting snagged by the competition, right? So these machines would have only went out to people that were trusted, not to mail one off to the Russians or something. It's the 50s, okay?
It's IP, man. IP is cutthroat work.
Yeah. So this is like, we're after the war. I mean, we're still, they're designing and patenting this stuff during the end of the war. So as we're approaching the 50s here, which was truly for the large vision of America, if you were white and middle class, the 50s were when America was great. Because
it's great.
All the guys came home from, and there was a high tax rate. The rich were paying their way. There was so much public service. There was a lot of money, jobs. We were rebuilding Europe and Japan. I mean, it was just after a war is a rebuilding, and that does stimulate the economy. Unfortunately, blah, meow.
Post-war economic miracle.
There you go, the Marshall Plan. Mm-hmm. Okay, so meanwhile, back at Singer. Dun, 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 dun. The new slant needle sewing machine would not only be marketed as a family sewing machine, but also as the slant shank system. Get that? The slant. So it'll be a nice family slant needle sewing machine, but it's also going to be the slant shank system for educators and high schools that wanted the most reliable machine able to withstand the daily abuse of high school students.
Which means they're locking in a whole new market of people who will know slant needles as the machine that they learned on.
So many people want or continue. I mean, this is known and measured by all the sewing machine companies. You want the machine you learned on in school because you know it already, right? So
obviously. I mean, that makes total sense.
Kenmore and Singer were the competitors when I was aware of this when I was in school. I asked my mom what they had, and she said they had treadles and they had electrics, but there were no, and I was trying to get her to describe them to me, and then I went and looked at some pictures of early 1950s. Mom could have been forced to sew on one of these. My mom hates sewing, just hated it.
On a 301?
It could have been
a 301?
It could have been a 301.
Wow.
Because
okay,
mid-1950s was when, Mom graduated from high school in 1956. The 301 was manufactured from 52 to 56. It is very likely. Of course, Mom went to a lot of different high schools. She graduated from Abraham Lincoln High School in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which was the richest high school in the county. So I'm going to bet that she encountered a 301.
Sure. Yeah. Headcanon accepted.
She remembers treadles, but they were round bobbins. She said they weren't the old bullet bobbins. So I'm going to guess 66 treadles. Because, again, a bomb-proof machine. So anyway, Singer says this slant shank system, but then why would they have still had treadles? I don't know. I'm going to do more research onto that. What kind of sewing machines? This is so autistic, right? 1956, Abraham Lincoln High School, Home Economics Department, Council Bluffs, Iowa. What machines? Somebody out there has got to have written down the serial numbers.
I mean, one assumes there's a piece of paper with this exact information somewhere.
So Singer felt that the education system would produce a new generation of sewers raised on the slant shank system. So, right, they're cultivating customers.
Yeah.
We're going to get them in the schools. We're going to build customers. Great system. Singer built an entirely new style electric family sewing machine embodying many exclusive features that simplify operation, making sewing a pleasure. I'm reading from a website, right? Made of die-cast aluminum for lightweight and sturdiness. It has a concealed built-in electric motor which drives the machine through gears at any desired speed. A built-in electric Singer light illuminates the work. Now, the light is built in under the arm. It's got this neat little thick glass focusing lens, so it's not sticking off the back where you can burn your hand with it.
Right.
Or it's not like the 201 on the front where you can burn your head on it leaning forward to see the needle.
It's in a non-burny position.
If there's any reason to Any better reason to replace your incandescent sewing machine light bulb with an LED? It's going to be the lack of burns and melted forelocks. Okay, let's see. The machine has a vertical rotary hook on a horizontal axis that makes a lock stitch. That's an engineering thing, but that is like this machine, the featherweight, we'll get to that other series of swing needle machines. Okay, it has a reverse feeding mechanism, okay, not a new thing, which enables you to sew forward or backward. Pretty standard Singer thing. Convenient feed throw-out device. Okay, that means a feed drop. Whatever. It takes the feed out, and it's real easy. It's a knob right behind the bobbin case. You just raise that little bed, turn this knob, your feed is down. Yeah. This is a big deal. This has not happened. Well, it did happen with the 201 and the 1591, but you had to tip the machine back. You've done this. Undo a thumb screw underneath.
Yeah.
Drop the feed. Okay, this is like super easy. Drop the feed. Why do you want to do that? Well, you want to be able to do free motion quilting and darning. You know, that's the reason why you don't want the feed. So they make that an easy thing. A convenient feed throw-out device which revengers a convenient feed throw-out device renders the feed inoperative, permits darning and embroidery to be done without the use of a feed cover, which is like what I use on my 66 and 99. You can 101. Okay, that was an improvement over the 201 over the 101 was the ability to get the feed out of there. Even if you had to tip it back and do it, you could do it. The 101, you still got to put a cover on, like the old 66s and the old 15s and stuff. Again, just micro improvements. But when you're sitting there at the machine doing a complex project and you need to change all these things, it's like, oh yeah, I would rather just twist this knob than look for the feed plate and click it on and it makes rattly noises and all that crap.
Right,
so
totally. It adds up.
Tiny improvements. Okay, and then we get to the big new thing. It has a 9-degree inclined needle bar and pressure bar for easy vision of work. The inclined needle bar is referred to as a slant shank system and would utilize only slant shank feet. Engineered for precision, sewing ease, extremely reliable, built to be sturdy and withstand daily use and abuse and last a lifetime. So this was like, we're putting our all into this. It was kind of the same gung-ho-ness that went into the 101. Only I think they're getting their marketing figured out better here. They're doing a lot of this brand new. If we go back and listen to our episode on the 101, which I think was the electricity one, I don't remember. But we'll talk about how the 101 had all these new features, and it was just too advanced and too specialized for the time it was. Now with the 301, we've got another machine with a lot of new advanced features, but we're going to launch it in post-war prosperity to people who want to be modern, right? So now we're like, okay, now our engineers are like, okay, this time we're going to get it, you know.
Totally.
Okay, now this is another brand new concept here. This is my favorite thing about it. So, well, I like all of the things. I can't wait to fire this thing up. I haven't even put power to it yet because of all this family hoo-ha and mom passing and all that. So, but you know, it's like, wait, I've got cool sewing machine projects waiting for me. So this is great. And I really wanted to record today because, like I said, Mom was our biggest fan.
Yeah.
Picture her trying to sew on a 301.
I mean, It is funny knowing her utter dislike of sewing.
I just have no patience. I can see her trying to thread that little bobbin cane. Okay. Now, I don't know if this would have been the school version here, but here we go. It would be the first family sewing machine ever made that was a cabinet and a portable all in one.
Aha, yeah, that handle.
Now, also the handle folds down neatly into the bed of the machine. It doesn't ruin the design lines. It's really a neat little thing. It just folds down. So you fold it up. You can raise the handle and lift the machine out of the cabinet to carry it anywhere. Now, it won't just fall out by itself. You have to reach down in the bobbin area and push this little spring. Super easy. You push the spring with your left hand, you lift the machine with your right. How much does it weigh? It's aluminum. 16 pounds. A featherweight weighs 12. 4 pounds more than a featherweight. Huh? Much bigger than a featherweight. It's a full-size machine, meaning it's got a large harp space. That's the space between the needle and the pillar. Your actual sewing area is the harp space. I don't know why they call it that.
Yeah, you pick it up, it's remarkably light. You're like, I mean, it's not a featherweight. It's got some heft to it, but also if you've ever picked up a regular sewing machine, which doesn't have a handle, so that makes it harder.
Oh, yeah.
You will know that this is lighter than it should be. It's much lighter than it looks at first glance.
Oh, we were talking about hot light bulbs. This is another thing. The handle on the top keeps you from reaching around the under of the arm and touching the hot light. Okay, another nice little, that's sweet. You just use the little handle. Now, when we were at the thrift store getting this thing, I could not remember about the spring underneath. And I was just trying to yank the machine out of the cabinet. I thought it was one of like those RV drawers. You just have to yank it hard enough. Mm-hmm. It would not let go. So this cradle thing is tough. And then when we got to your house and a little more excitement died down and I was like, oh, that's right. And then it just clicked right out. Now, the cabinet's as greasy and rusty and nasty as the underside of the machine, but everything's there and it's repairable. So there we go. This wonderful, let's just click it out and take it over to Susie's for some sewing. Now you could buy this wonderful little case to put it in. It's called the trapezoid case. It's wider on the bottom and skinnier on the top, but it's square. It's a trapezoid. And they're in this tweed sort of old guitar amplifier kind of fabric. So I'd like to find one. That was like you could buy the machine, the case, and the cabinet, of course, all as a package. If you didn't want the case, you didn't need to. You could get the cabinet came with a knee lever built in. Now, just like this one here, that's how it came.
Nice.
But it was easy to take all the bits out and move it to your, let's go sewing with Susie. Everything, fits in your case nicely. Okay, so the 301 was also the first family sewing machine to sew up to 1,600 stitches per minute.
Wow, that's a lot.
Now, what does that really mean? Okay.
That's a lot.
One of the things on this page for super nerds to get into, remember, singer301.com. Not my page, no financial interest, just a great 301 page. They have sewing machine races on here where they set up, I think, 101, 201, 221, 1591, all the machines that use the same kind of three-prong connector and use just regular motors. And they use the same controller for each machine, right? So there's no difference in controllers. And they greased and oiled and threaded them with the right thread, everything as uniform as possible, and then see how fast each machine will sew. How many stitches will it, lay down on a 24-inch piece of fabric at 12 stitches per inch.
Wow.
And the 301 blows everything away. The featherweight's lucky if it can top out at 800. So the 301 twice that
shit.
speed.
Wow.
Twice that speed. Now, I have sewn on 301s just in the context of working on them. Like I said, just a couple of beige ones, but never actually sat down and put it through its complete. I've worked on a lot of featherweights, but 301s I really don't have that much experience with, which is another reason that I bought this obviously thrash machine, is I will get the experience of bringing it back to life, which is really why I do this whole thing anyway. Hey man, you want a sewing machine? I'll give it to you.
It's all about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, bringing him back, it's like the brave little toaster. Bring him back.
Right? It's like your song,
Yeah. The new slant needle Singer Model 301. A revolutionized sewing machine of tomorrow. Lots of dashes in there. Sewing machine of tomorrow. With a design to make home sewing easier. Slant needle The first and only electric Singer sewing machine ever made that is a cabinet and portable all in one. So that's a new thing. The slant needle's a new thing. The two-tone portability cabinet thing is a new thing.
New and improved. Scratch and sniff.
Right? Now we've still got the direct drive gear motor, and we've got the featherweight superior sort of rotary hook thing. Oh, and another cool, weird little thing about the 301 that I hadn't noticed until I read this page. The thread spool pins. Okay, there's one down on the bed for bobbin winding, right? You put it on there and then you go up to the bobbin winder. And then there's one on the sort of on the back, not on the very top, but it's a spool pin. You know how spool pins are usually metal, rigid pieces of metal?
Yeah.
16 penny nails, right? These are flexible. You can't break them.
Oh, yeah. I remember you showing me that. Yeah.
Yeah, these really weird, tightly woven spun steel springy things. They're
Yeah,
very
it's like a spring,
sturdy.
but not.
They kind of remind me of door stops.
That's exactly what they remind me of. That you
Yeah.
can sing the song of your people on doing, 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 doing.
Oh, and they boing so well.
Yeah, they're very
boing.
boingy. Higher
Boing,
pitch
boing,
than a
boing.
doing one, but it's just than a door one, but it's the same idea.
So, another cool little thing about the 301, it's got a nice big throat plate with 1/8 inch engraved lines, guidelines, a marked throat plate.
I love those guideline throat plates. I love those things so much.
It's really easy to thread. It's got the standard Singer tension knob set up with numbers. And all the little thread guides and things are very well laid out and easy to use. The drop feed is amazing. The forward and reverse stitch length thing, it's the same type of down and up lever as your 1591. But the numbers are much easier to read, and the lever is a round knob, not a flat little thing. It's beautiful metal round knob, but it's just easier to do. Again, tiny little improvements, but the easy readability of the stitch length. Yeah. So it wasn't made, the majority of Singer 301 and 301A. People go, what's the difference between a 301 and a 301A? In 1952, production started on the Model 301 at the New Anderson factory in South Carolina and were shipped to Singer sewing centers prior to the grand introduction. So the ones that don't have the suffix A are the ones that were made before the official launch.
Ah, interesting. That's some nerd shit right there.
It totally. So a total number. Let's see. Then it goes on and talks more about, Andersonville closed in 1988. I remember that. That's when I was still working at Singer, because all this pretty much all the top of the line stuff that I sold was slant needle.
Okay.
6233, 6234, 6235, 6267, 6268 Ultra Unlimited. That was our top of the line. Then we sold some low shank sort of generic models that were not made at Andersonville, but all of the top of the lines were made at Anderson because they were all slant shank still. It has a whole list of all the slant shank ones here. And then when Anderson closed in 1988, that's when things really didn't go well. So 301, 301A, same machine, different dating, and then there's like only one variation of the decals. There's the paper clip and there's the prism.
And yours is the paperclip, yes?
Mine is an NA.
I'm remembering the mental picture in my head, right? I don't even know what that means, but it just...
I'm pretty sure it's a paper clip. It's this different, very similar but different shape. And then there's a different plate on the motor. In wrapping it up, again, if you really want to know everything there is to know about the Singer 301, someone has put up this amazing website called singer301.com. It doesn't have any ads or pop-ups or annoying stuff. It's just tons of pictures and really deep dive information. I really recommend you check it out. It is teaching me a lot. It doesn't go into the mechanics, it's like how to fix it and stuff, but there are excellent videos on YouTube about how to take apart a 301 and do all the necessary stuff. 301s, again, because of all the design differences, should not be considered a big sister of the featherweight, more of the featherweight's prodigal daughter, incorporating all the great features that came before into one entirely new machine. And a lot of quilters prefer the 301 because it's faster, it's stronger, and it's just more of a full-size sewing machine and less of a little novelty item. It does not yet have the cult status of the featherweight and probably won't. But people that show up to a quilt class with a 301 are like people that drive classic Volvos. You appreciate some of the more, it's still, it's not a Chevy Bel Air, but it's still cool. So it's not whatever your classic car du jour is. The 301 is a very well-respected machine in all kinds of sewing circles. And I just really can't wait to get this one going. And because we bought it on Grandma's dime, on Grandma's time, her and I were talking about, I'm going to call it Rose of Sharon. Because Mom was named.
Yeah.
She was named for Rose of Sharon, the character in Grapes of Wrath.
Damn.
My mom was named by her grandma, who they shared the same birth date.
Wow.
Yeah. So this machine, I've named my featherweight Tommy Lee because he's got a rough skin, but he's charismatic. And so this mom loved those 1930s Art Deco locomotives. Her dad worked on those.
Right.
So this is going to be Mom's machine. Even though she hates sewing, she loved our podcast. She would love the design lines of this thing. And she probably even had to sew on one in the middle 50s.
And there you have it, a concentrated info dump about the Singer 301, the prodigal daughter of the featherweight, the fastest domestic machine Singer ever made, and the probable model that my Grandma Sharon begrudgingly learned sewing on in high school. We went to Florence to hunt treasures to excitedly report back on with a living grandma's cash in hand. And we returned to our recording studios with a ghost grandma to report back to. Talking about her and to her in the context of this info dump episode was a part of our healing process. We know that she enjoyed our score of this 301, and we hope that you did too. Next week, I am going to go back to some older recordings that got pushed aside because we needed to do these more real-time episodes in response to our real lives happening. And actually, we're going to try something new with putting together multiple very short episodes into a single piece, including but not limited to the long-awaited, slightly cursed dead featherweight story that we literally recorded twice before an attempt finally succeeded. Stay tuned, stay threaded, stay hydrated, and we'll talk to you next time. This episode of Used to Sew was sponsored by Sharon Innes, 1938 through 2025. Thank you for listening to us here at Used to Sew. We always welcome your additions, corrections, and feedback in general. Please reach out to us via email at usedtosew@gmail.com. Used to Sew is a production of Fox and Raven Media. For more podcasts from Fox and Raven Media, visit our website at foxandravenmedia.com.